After you grieve and cry, release, or begin to be willing to understand that there are things that you must let go of that you did not want to let go of in the first place. You take a deep breath and you really get clear with your cognitive dissonance. What was this thing taking place of that I genuinely want for real? Maybe there's a certain type of car you truly want to have, but you weren't ready to face it until you had an accident. Maybe you needed um, clarity that a certain connection wasn't for you, so you manifested the distance. You might have done a love spell, right? And the love spell created a breakup. You might have done a money spell and lost your job. You might have done a money spell and had a car accident. These things happen to make room for the things that you want. And I'm not saying that you manifest bad things all the time and that bad things happening is like a guaranteed part of manifestation or bringing things into being. That is not the case. But the person that you might have been when you set certain intentions might have been open to different things that you have outgrown, might have had certain beliefs that no longer serve you, might have had expectations and limitations that forced things to manifest in twisted ways. We'll never really know. You gotta dive in and find out for yourself. But it is important to see why it was fulfilling 80% of your desires and not 100%, and to accept that perhaps the break came when you tried to force that last 20% out of that specific connection, project, individual, job, what have you. So the grief is real, and grief has many stages, and it comes in waves, and it's unpredictable. You can be fine for 3 days and like get in your feelings the next. You can be fine for 3 minutes and then get in your feelings the next. Like grief is unpredictable, and the only thing you can do is roll with it. Especially if you're feminine, or you're embracing your feminine energy. People talk about receiving, 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 but part of receiving is being able to receive the good with the bad. With that being said, that does not mean you go out there and you find something to hurt you to make that happen. Life will naturally deliver that dose to you. You do not need to write that into your program. In fact, you should be writing more and more effortlessness and ease into your program as opposed to acceptance of pain and struggle. Anyway, I digress. Chances are the thing that you've lost was nowhere near structured to give you what it was you were actually seeking in the end. And the grief comes from having that internal moment of delusion destroyed, or having a solid belief that something was one thing only for it not to be another, whether through the deception or betrayal of others, whether through misperception, miscommunication, whatever it is. The emotional clash of grief is you trying to work to accept a thing you did not think you could accept, but have to accept because you cannot change, like you cannot control that. So being in your feminine requires you to really learn how to embrace the ups and downs of life and ride the wave, as my grandmother would say. Life has its ups and downs. Just learn to ride the wave. Now, with that being said, this is also important. When you grieve, Sometimes you feel so bad that you're like, I never want to feel this again. I swear I'm never going to do this again. Don't write contracts with yourself that you will fight to disentangle from when you're feeling better and then wonder why you're not connecting to anybody. You'll align with whoever you're meant to align with, for sure, but you've got to use this time to create a totally new reality for yourself. You've got to use the ashes of everything that just burnt down in your face to recreate a stronger energetic set of boundaries and a force field around yourself to bring in the kind of thing you truly want to bring in. And if you're strong enough, if you're ready, if you're willing to be open to the idea, what if by the end of today, whatever today is, you truly allowed yourself to be in a place where you could at least pretend this was the best thing that ever happened to you, looking back, because it set you on a path to really living the life you wanted to live. I heard somebody else say recently that in this season, we're not getting tested by people who hate us. We're getting tested by people we had a good time with, people that we never saw ourselves parting with, jobs we never saw ourselves walking away from, clients, environments, projects, passions we never saw ourselves giving up on. These things are part of the dark night of the soul. These things are part of life. These things are just everyday things. And which category it falls into really depends on you and where you're at and your level of awareness. But this season requires stillness because you have to process how deep it is to be real tight with somebody one day and the next day, bloop, not there. They're gone. Nothing you can do about it. Even if you text them, even if you show up every day, even if you come to your job early, even if you give it your best, your all, you are not promised forever with anybody, like no matter what. And it fucking sucks. It fucking sucks. That's why everybody's so stressed out about the economy, about life, and everybody's used to this permanence and stability without realizing that if you have a hunger for more in one area, the crap will usually come out of another area as a sign that everything gotta go to make room for that. Your new life will always kind of cost you your old one. It's just whether or not the people, places, things, jobs, careers, clients, money, situations stay in alignment with you. And people have free will. You can do whatever you want to do to try to bring a person with you, even a spell, even an affirmation, even a prayer. But in the long run, you're just delaying the heartbreak if that person ultimately is not aligned with that highest timeline you're asking about. So right now, if you're in like heartache or pain, if you're grieving something, if you're stunned about something, if you're going through a tower moment, if you're going through hell, you've got to find the peace and tranquility in this moment to stay chill, because you can't control your feelings. Your feelings are going to happen, but you can control how you live your life with your feelings. And if you can keep a sense of grace about yourself and a sense of authenticity about yourself, you'll be able to do whatever it is you need to do to handle all of this heartbreak and pain. Yeah, I'm like in my car vibing right now. To handle all of this heartbreak and pain without losing yourself. You also learn how to have what they call grace under fire, a velvet glove over an iron fist, and a sense of timelessness about yourself. Holding in your feelings ages you. Holding back your emotions ages you. If you're in your feminine stuffing down your feelings, it ages you. All of that energy takes root in your body and you just start getting inflamed and bloated. You gain weight, you hurt. Like, don't do it to yourself. I do not have a male body. However, I'm pretty sure there are some similarities um, and commonalities that resonate with this. Overall, though, no matter who you are and what's between your thighs, it is important to understand that, yeah, whatever you're going through hurts, but your ability to cry and feel and allow everything you're experiencing to be encapsulated, um, write it down somewhere, email it to yourself, turn it into a book, create something out of it so that you have something to look back on. You'll be okay, because I promise you, when I have to cry it out, I do. I put myself on a little schedule and I do my best I can to get as much out as possible. And then I try to pivot, take a bath, and take a nap to just reset. And a lot of times, for me, it's enough, right? But back when I tried to stuff it down, I would try to just work, 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 work. And I mean, I got a lot done and I was productive per se, but it wasn't necessarily working out the way I needed it to because I wasn't really feeling into what I needed to feel into. These days, I do. So I can share how I feel and keep it moving. And it is what it is because I said what I said and I feel how I feel. And that's just how life is. You know, that's just how I'm going to be. However, you don't have to wait to get to this point. You know, you have to not give a fuck the minute you realize that nobody else is giving a fuck. You have to pull back and you have to literally hold yourself. You have to hold yourself. You have to baby yourself. You have to pamper yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to kiss yourself. You have to tell yourself it'll be okay. You have to let yourself know that you got you. And it's crazy because you're probably already doing that, but you just need to do it a little more right now. You need to baby yourself like the mother or father you haven't had, because dead ass, nobody's going to know what you need internally but you, and they're not going to pick up clues or cues until you do it for yourself. So do it for yourself. But don't fight the emotional aspect of grieving the process of where you're going in life, especially if you've done the work. If you know deep down inside that the situation that you are hurt over was more than likely not going to end out the way you desired, grieve, cry it out, get it over with, because the minute those emotions clear and that knowing really takes root, it's going to be more sweet than bittersweet, and more bittersweet than painful, and more painful than life altering and devastating. Because at the end of the day, ain't, ain't, ain't nothing promised. That's why it's important to co-create. Some things energetically will align and you'll never have to worry about. Those are the things that you will know about. But you must always, always understand that the minute something is taken from you, gently, abruptly, however the motherfuckly, you have to move with grace and tranquility and peace so that you can see the movement happening in the storm and see the things that are shifting in your favor and allow the cleansing season to work its way through. And that's pretty much it.